Bentrovati. Tra pochissimo inizierà il nuovo episodio del podcast con ospite Nathan Riddett. Ricordiamo che nella descrizione saranno presenti dei link per altro materiale che consigliamo di guardare anche prima di questo episodio per comprendere meglio l'argomento che sarà trattato di seguito. Buona visione. Back with our good friend Nathan Riddett from over there in the UK.
Thank you, Francesco.
Yeah, no problem, man. Was about to say over there, deep behind enemy lines.
Yeah,
kind of as we all are, pretty much. So.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be back. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and. So the today's topic is going to be pretty, I think it's going to be pretty intense and as usual, controversial and might not be that lighthearted, even seeing this type of situation evolving and some of the steps that might be required to get ourselves out of it, both mentally, spiritually, and unfortunately it could be very likely that those will have to be also we'll have to bring this also to the physical realm, so to speak. And we're talking about basically the warrior spirit, embodying the warrior spirit, starting to get in that mindset and basically recognizing comprehending deeply and recognizing the self-defense principle.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll dive into into all of this I guess we could start with talking about finding again the warrior spirit.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to identify, that when you do step into the self-defense principle, or you invoke the warrior spirit, if you like, and and that would be utilizing the lost word, no, and it's known as the lost word because collectively as a society we don't know the right time to use the word no. Those that don't know right from wrong don't say no when they should do. And this has led to things like vapid anger or vapid judgment, and we're based in moral relativism, which we've talked about a lot on previous shows. So once you objectively know the difference between right and wrong, and that you shouldn't be harming or threatening someone else with violence or lying to them, then when that's done to you, I've just kind of touched on a good point straight away, and you wouldn't just beat somebody up because they've told you a little white lie. You would use force against violence if someone's actually attacking you or threatening to attack you, with malicious intent. Then you would stand up, stand your ground,
Yes.
But this has been, well, it's been bred out of us. We've been domesticated for a long time, and old cultures that embodied the warrior spirit, like the samurais who started training at 5, and the Spartans, and the Vikings, the Sikhs and the Native Americans, these are no good for tyrants. So tyrants breed out that way of thinking, and through both mind control and you know, when people believe that government are the only people that can use force, it's, you know, obviously we're the only people that can look after ourselves in any situation as an individual. If someone's about to beat you up, then you know, government aren't there, police aren't there. You know, it's only ever going to be you.
Yeah.
And we've lost our way in many ways, but certainly in really understanding the self-defense principle and kind of living the warrior spirit. It's it's sad to see, you know, and through the foods as well, and the medicines and the vaccines that with the both chromosomes in, as well as actually, you know, this kind of toxic masculinity stuff that they try and sow into women's minds, so that then women aren't attracted to rebellious men.
Yeah.
And there are less rebellious men because they're not finding women, so they're bending their will.
The market requires the market requires it.
Yeah, the covert matriarchy. You know?
Yeah, and I just want to interject a little bit, clarifying something that now we are showing the, you know, the warrior spirit, how it was intended by the samurais, the Spartans, the Vikings, etc. All these cultures, but we are not necessarily, you know, endorsing, you know, what was their system of power back in, you know, back in those days. So
yeah, I mean, all their other actions aside, you know, we're looking at their mentality for using self-defense.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are taking the, you know, again, it's about, you know, taking the good things that, you know, can be utilized also in a positive sense in regard to, you know, to personal safety and freedom, basically. And
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a little kind of a little reflection I had to make, you know, before even starting to talk about the physical aspect of rebellion against injustice and tyranny, because that's what it's all about in the end. But it's also like there is a lack even of the mindset to, you know, to just you know, speak out and speak out against the system and against, you know, what's going on. And I mean, there's just so much cowardice in the end. That's what it is. So much cowardice, and, you know, people don't even wanna, you know, they won't even envision doing something like what we are doing, you know, right now, and publish it, you know, online. Or, you know, some other people, even if they say they agree with you, won't even have the courage to share on their, you know, to share your material, because all of a sudden they get, you know, they get scared even of what other people or friends or family might just think about them. So it's not even fear of death. It's not even fear of, you know, physical harm. It's just, you know,
for what other people might think. Yeah. Might ostracize you, or
so there's a lot of that, I think, that have to be
addressed. My job. What will my boss think?
Or my social media, you know, circle, or whatever. So even you know, I realized that there's actually quite a long way to get to, you know, the full comprehension of what courage is, and the warrior spirit is, and the warrior mindset, and let alone you know, the physical forceful intervention. You know, there's a long way if people are just so scared even of speaking out, you know, when they can. So
yeah, we've got a long way to go, and I think, you know, we're of the similar mindset in that this is an act for, you know, I say I'm doing this for posterity, because I don't actually think things are going to get much better, but by offering the solutions, at least we're putting the solutions out there. Whether people, it's the horse to water thing, you know. It's very frustrating when people would rather be led to death and slavery rather than led to freedom, which involves a little bit of courage and, you know, and some basic understanding of some really obvious principles. Yeah, so let's, you know, we've got to try, haven't we? Otherwise there is a chance that things could turn for the better.
And I think, and we have to be prepared mentally in that aspect that actually, you know, things will have to get worse if you really are objective about it before they get better, because as far as I'm seeing, there's still way too many people that are still having it good, you know, notwithstanding, you know, all the economic problems that are rising now, but there's still too many people that are, you know, way too comfortable, and maybe still even people that are less, you know, comfortable are maybe waiting for maybe hoping in the government handout or whatever. So it's hard to say, because it goes against, you know, even, you know, my own or our own personal interests. But I'm afraid it's gonna get. It has to get worse, you know. But unfortunately, it seems that we, you know, we talk about the two paths to you know, to knowledge, to understanding. It's the right hand path and the left hand path, and, you know, one is, you know, knowledge through discovering, you know, like the discovery of things, and the other is through suffering. So so that there's the path of, you know, learning through knowledge or learning through suffering. And it seems, you know, unfortunately it seems
Isis or Eris, I think.
Yes. Since we will have to go to the left-hand path if we are to learn anything at all, it seems, in the aggregate, as a collective. So
yeah, sure. I mean, we could understand these principles consciously. It's like, you know, you can explain to a child that they're going to burn their hand if they put it on the stove. They can understand that consciously, but, you know, many put their hand and learn the hard way, like you say, learn through suffering. You can either learn through gleaning the wisdom, or yet you learn the hard way, and we do typically seem to learn the hard way.
Exactly. Yeah.
The longer this goes on, though, you know, the worse it's going to get. And you know, I think there's plenty of movies that have been put out there, you know, like Terminator 2 and Elysium and iRobot and all this kind of stuff, you know, that the technology is going to be there very soon. And all the whilst we can do it on a conscious level and you know, make people that support the domination system, like the order followers, the cult members, there is, you know, I'm high on hopium perhaps, but there is hope that, you know, they could actually take this information on board and understand what they're doing is wrong, and they're upholding evil because they're protecting pedophiles, and they're not actually, you know, the destruction of the sacred feminine principle, what they're doing. You know, they're destroying care, and all of these people that haven't actually done anything wrong, they haven't caused harm to another person. You know, these order followers are going and just doing their job, upholding the law, you know, violating these people, kidnapping them, and all the rest of it. So yeah, I mean, the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to be. And, you know, it's been going on for far too long, and it's going to get grim. It really is. But I'd really like to see humanity do something before there's an army of robots that are doing the bidding for the dark elite, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is, yes, like you said, it's the two pillars of enlightenment. It's the do no harm, but we're really focusing on the self-defense principle. But you need both pillars in for a truly orderly society, for a functioning, happy, freedom-orientated society, there needs to be a collective, a critical mass of people that understand the two pillars of enlightenment: do no harm, take no shit. And yeah, I mean, we're way beyond the point that we should have done something about this, because, you know, freedoms that have been taken away, you know, freedom of speech, and all of the crazy arbitrary rules and laws that people are being, and, you know, at the moment with, you know, this corona hoax, you know, it's not too dissimilar to Nazi Germany. And this is fascism, you know, this is tyranny.
Yeah.
You know, and they're clever with their psyops, and they go down routes of, you know, getting people to associate with emotion, you know, like, oh, you got to look after granny, you know, what about granny? And, you know, what about the vulnerable people? And so, well, you know, I'm healthy, I'm not going to give it to anybody. Oh, you could be asymptomatic. No.
Yeah.
You obviously haven't looked at the studies with that.
Exactly.
You're just
Yeah.
repeating
Yeah.
stuff off of the news and the media. Oh, I'm only wearing my mask to stop you from getting it. It's just the lies that people sell themselves, and it's almost, you know, unthinkingly taken on these worldviews and opinions that have been put out there 24/7 by the mainstream news, you know, telling their vision, telling you how you should be thinking.
Yeah, and many. Yeah, and also the one big part of it, it's the usual divide and conquer. So now they are, you know, indoctrinating people into thinking that, you know, their neighbor is the enemy. You know,
Yeah.
his fellow human, you know, fellow human.
Everyone's a threat. Yeah.
Yeah, because
everyone's a danger.
Yeah.
Grass them up. They've got more than 6 people around their house, you know. And I actually know of somebody that had that happen to. And yes, the order followers turned up because there was one extra family member around their house, and they've got a £10,000 fine. It's just, it's, you know, people are putting up with it. We're putting up with this shit, man.
Yeah, and it's already gone out of control. And yes, in some places it's more dramatic than in other places, but overall it's still really a violation of people's rights. And here, you know, here it's where the topic could really get to the causal, the real causal factor, that, you know, people don't know really what a right is and what right action and wrong versus wrong action are. And we've discussed this kind of thing in the past. We did, I think, our first interview together. So I guess if people want to look that up, to actually learn about, you know, natural law and what are rights, and because that's the foundation from which we have to start. So
yeah.
And also we did a roundtable on anarchy on this channel with Mark Devlin and Ivan Oyola, and we did another roundtable on natural law and freedom on Joe Murray's podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I mean, people have lots of things to start with if they haven't really got, you know, the basics. So over here we'll get a little, you know, it's not gonna be, you know, super basic. It's like it's gonna require a little bit of prerequisite knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, you need to know right from wrong. You need to know that theft is wrong, you know, and you shouldn't be taking anyone's lives. You shouldn't be raping, you know, murdering, thieving, lying, deceiving. Yeah, those are wrongs.
Yeah, I'm
so,
talking.
Go on.
No, yeah, I mean, talking about, you know, self-defense and the use of defensive force. There is a lot of a lot of confusion, again, thanks to the usual, propaganda and whatnot, and even in parts of the, let's say, the movements that are protesting the, current situation and of, tyranny and enslavement. It seems that there is quite a bit of confusion on, when to utilize physical self-defense, or if it has to be utilized at all, because there are many who says, well, we have to, go to the protest in the streets and, do things like that. And but we have to be non-violent at that, and that, which would be right, but I don't think that many people get what that actually means, because they think, people who adhere to non-violence, in quotes, they seem to think that include, not being able to even to defend oneself. So
yeah, so should we look at the difference between force and violence? And violence, wrongs, it's a violation of a right, and then you use force against that violence. And yet, like you say, the powers that be have been murky in the water and obfuscating this information, and like we said, to make people think that they don't have the right, only they do. And it starts at school. When you're at school and you get in trouble because someone jabbed a compass in your knee and you smashed them in the nose, you get in trouble because you've and this is and I will always tell my son that if anyone threatens him or hurts him, I will back him up 100% if he uses self-defense, and that he should use self-defense, because bullies prey on people that don't do anything. That's where they get their kicks. And there's a lot of people like that in the armed forces and the military and police. But yeah, so we need to be nice and clear about that, and have the understanding that boxing isn't violent because it's done out of both two consenting parties. So that that's two people pitting themselves against each other using force. It's not actually violence. So we need to be really have a deep understanding of that. We need to understand property rights, what we own and what we don't own, because obviously that's based around natural law and understanding what's right and wrong with regards to theft. And if anyone tries to steal something from you, then you've got the right to do something about it, using force, using physical force, up to and including deadly force, right?
Yes.
And this is we should stand in this, against thieves. But again, if someone breaks into your house, I know that you've got some arms, but I haven't got a gun here
for now, until they take them. But
yeah. I've got other means of self-defense, but I wouldn't be able to do so. If someone came through my door with a gun, I'd be in deep trouble. And the police aren't going to be there. The government aren't going to be there. So it's total mind control that the people think that this small group of people are the only people that have got the right. And these are order followers. These are the worst sort of people that should have the guns, because they just do what they're told to do with them. And they obviously don't care for morality and right and wrong, because they wouldn't be doing the bloody job in the first place.
Yes, and I think we have to address some of the cognitive dissonances of actually more than one category of people, because there's the supporters of the older followers, and then especially in the States, but somehow somewhat also over here, they they seem to be sort of pro self-defense when it comes to defending yourself against a street criminal, common criminal. but then they will say that they, you know, fully support the, you know, law enforcement, police, and military because they are here to protect us, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's the other camp, sort of, that, you know, they like they criticize, you know, they may criticize police for some of their you know, criminal behavior, but then they sort of, you know, oh yeah, but, you know, we kind of need them. It's only, you know, a few bad apples, and
Yeah,
you know, I mean, just watching the situation now, and if you support, if you're one of these people that, you know, that hold such beliefs, like, you know, you can't have it both ways, you know. It's
that's exactly how they want you. The perfect golem, right?
Yeah.
The de facto satanic supporter of the system. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because many people also say, you know, yeah, we need police, but, you know, over what they're doing now, it's unacceptable, and no, or it's or they are exaggerating, like, and they have to understand that they are, what they're doing right now, all the tyranny and the violent, you know, criminal enforcement that they are doing for the predator class. It's what they were created to do in the first place. So they are not doing it by accident. You know, it's their purpose. So to keep people in line, not to defend people from, you know, robbers or whatever.
Yeah, it's a diseased mindset. That's very, very disturbing, really. Quite, but you know, this is to go from a place of buying all of the mind control and all the propaganda all your life, which is this person that you've just described, to coming out the other side of that. There will take some time, and you will have to really contemplate on these principles. You can't just go from being a full-on supporter of government to understanding natural law, you know, overnight. Although I guess it is possible if you're brutally honest with yourself. So yeah, that's where we're at, and you know, it's about standing up for freedom. You know, if we're not prepared to stand up for freedom and rights, then, you know, it's just a really deplorable situation. That there's a lot of mind control going on. Yeah, there's to kind of counter that, and all of these layers, like you say, because people think that they're needed, or that they're here for the greater good.
I mean, just you know, if you go to some protests, if you've seen some videos on the internet, there are actually protests that say, no, we are against the government, not the police, not the police. You know, we love police. You know, you are our brothers and sisters too.
Traitors.
And I'm like, no,
slavers, house slaves.
Yeah. It's not like that, you know. And you've seen they have, you know, you've seen it in the various, you know, what they're doing, you know, in almost every country right now. They don't give a damn about their you know, their fellow human beings. They don't consider you their brothers and sisters. No, that their brothers are their colleagues in their cult.
Yeah,
not the civilians. You are the enemy. You have to understand that for them you are the enemy, you know. And so, you know, going back to the self-defense principle, you know, starting from the microcosm, so self-defense against, you know, violence conducted upon you by, you know, the robber, rapist, or you know, carjacker or whatever. We have to, I think now we have to, maybe the purpose of this episode is actually, and what most people still don't want to hear, it's actually, you know, the comprehension of the fact that applying it, going to the next level, yes, you still have the same right to self-defense against against the infringement on your rights and freedoms done by people wearing uniforms or their followers, military and what have you, state agents. So
not estate agents. Not...
Oh yeah. no, state with the
Oh, we'll get offended then, nearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, going back to the obfuscation, and so you'd have religions like Buddhism, and you'd have the New Age movement as well, and some of those go as far as pacifism, complete pacifism, to never getting angry as well, and then there's also in the New Age is ignoring the negative, but combined with not fully deeply understanding natural law and right and wrong, it leads to vapid anger, which I touched on at the beginning, is where people are getting angry over it, but people are absolutely losing their shit over their sports team losing, or something like that.
Yeah, some other nonsense that they see on TV.
Someone just went through a red light, and they some sort of road rage, or and then there's the judgment as well, where people are being judged all the time, for they're not judged on their actions based on whether it's right or wrong. They're judged on because how they're walking, how they're talking, what clothes they're wearing, and all this sorts of stuff. It's just there's a lot of idiocy in the world, and this is why things are so crazy, because there's no common sense. To know consciere, con together, sciere, from the word that's where science came from.
Yes.
To know together, what's the most important thing to know together is be right from wrong. So this is it always comes back to this, doesn't it? The root causal factor.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment we're totally within our rights to do something about it with using force. But would anything positive actually occur at this stage? Well, unfortunately, we need a collective of people that understand this information before we do something about it. Although we would be completely within our rights to do something about it, but we wouldn't be any better off, because the unconsciousness would still be back to square one afterwards. So that's why we keep trying to put these principles and this logic out there, right?
Yeah, because education, of course, obviously needs to come first, especially in the sad state that things are right now. And however,
sorry, go on, mate.
No, just wanted to say, however, we have to be aware that the right exists, to defend ourselves from tyranny, from.
Yeah, and not also with these lockdowns, people that do practice martial arts haven't been able to do so, not properly with a partner.
Yes.
I haven't done anything, I don't think, all year, certainly from March at least. And it's a shame I've got nowhere to put a punch bag or anything like that. So yeah, I miss it. And we want to know how to look after ourselves, and that's another thing that we can't do at the moment. Some proper training, which is really annoying. And you have to wear your mask as well, whilst you're exercising.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think, and that was part of the plan, because not only in most of the world you're not allowed to to really have firearms, to really have firepower, but now you're not even actually allowed to effectively practice some form of unarmed combat. So yeah, they got finally to that point.
Yeah, I mean, in America, with the Second Amendment, there's a lot more people that get gun ownership rights. They understand.
Yes.
They really understand why the Second Amendment. Then that's what I'd urge your listeners to really understand would be the true purpose and meaning of the Second Amendment. So
yeah, I have, for people that might not know, I have two translated videos from Mark Passio explaining the true meaning and purpose of the Second Amendment. There are two parts. So if you want, you can watch those. And I'm planning on also doing maybe some other episode, maybe breaking down the meaning of the Second Amendment in regards to self-defense principle against tyranny and government oppression. So
yeah, I mean, how long does the bullied child keep cowering in the corner?
Yes.
And those ideologies in Buddhism and the New Age are just fucking, they're repugnant.
Many people do.
The cowards, the people that want to buy those
yes.
wrong shit-brained ways of thinking.
Yeah, but also many activists and people that are actually doing something. They do, buy into those type of concepts. Unfortunately.
Well, it's because there's a lot. It's been put out there massively.
Yeah.
I mean, these social engineers, that people that are running this shit show, they've been doing this for a long time. They're very clever people. They know what they're doing. They know what works. They know how to manipulate us, and they must be pissing in their pants more than ever at the moment about all of this obedience, and the occult mockery with the wearing the muzzles.
Yes.
The psychology behind that.
That's very twisted.
Yeah, but they've got the minds of the masses, though. So they're not really worried about a very small percentage of people that do actually have done the inner work and have been honest with themselves. They've gone through the shadow work. They've gone through the material. They get it. They're applying it in their lives. They're not worried about people like us.
No, absolutely.
The mob. They've got the mind of the mob, unfortunately. But I think more people are coming online with all of this. More people are understanding what's that this is more than just a virus.
Yes.
It's screaming. It couldn't shout any louder in my that this is more than a virus. But
that's also true. I mean, we always we tend to be quite dark sometimes. Our vision can get can darken very much, even depending on depending on the various moments of this whole charade. But actually, and in fact, this is something that I always say, that we actually needed this event, because good luck trying to talk to some of the about some of these things to people before this this happened. It was even more difficult then, so we have to consider this also. So this one way or another, this needed to happen, in my opinion. But
it's just whether people go all the way with their research, and end up coming into the gold of natural law, rather than being sort of falling into one of these cul-de-sacs. There's many researchers calling them the cul-de-sacs before the gold mine, like the New Age movement. So hopefully more people, because this information is being put out there more. Passio's obviously done an amazing job at all of his material, but in the last few years, that has maybe another dozen of them put out their own as well. So if that keeps going, which if it's shared to the friends and family, because it's important information, then there's hope. Back on that hopium pipe. Well,
I know.
Trying to be realistic, and optimistic at the same time.
Sure.
when I've been pretty much the only person not wearing a mask every time I've gone shopping for 8 months now,
Lucky you.
Sometimes it takes its toll, and it's hard, swimming against the stream, very, very in your face, Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So I've just clicked on the first slide. So courage. Yeah, we need to know. We need to have the information. We need to know what right and wrong is, and we need to care enough to generate the courage to walk the walk. And when you, no one wants to hurt someone else unless you're a psychopath, right? So you don't want to punch someone in the face, but if they started it, then they're asking for it, and you should generate the courage to do that. And that is, it's something I struggled with. I was bullied as a young kid, and there's me, 7 maybe. I started when I was 6. I must have been 6 actually. I started karate and learned how to defend myself, and stood up to the school bully. And I've done martial arts ever since. So I settled on Wing Chun. I really like that art. And I've looked into obviously got samurai movies and the culture, and I'm quite clued up on a lot of that. So yeah, courage. You need courage to speak out. You need courage to walk the walk. You need courage to stand up for yourself, and it needs to be worked upon. Like everything, we need to generate it. I would recommend the use of entheogens if you're struggling with courage, because you need courage to take them in the first place. But you also, they show you your dark side. You face your fears, and so many people have talked about the benefits of them, and especially like near to death patients, cancer patients, and who are scared of dying and this kind of stuff. They've used entheogens. Obviously, I'm advocating it in a conscious way. I'm not in an unconscious kind of recreational way.
Not for fun. So
yeah, to do the work, mate. Do the fucking work. Which more people need to do. I was going to read this one out. So this is Sitting Bull. Warriors are not what you think of as warriors. The warrior is not someone who fights because no one has the right to take another life. The warrior, for us, is one who sacrifices himself for the good of others. His task is to take care of the elderly, the defenseless, those who cannot provide for themselves, and above all, the children, the future of humanity. And
that's pretty. That's
itself, doesn't it?
Spot on.
The children.
Yeah.
The children. There's a quote that I should have had in here actually. Basically, is it Samuel Adams when he's talking about don't let it happen in my day? That if he was a father, that the sort of father you'd have to be to not stand up in times like this, and to leave it for your children to deal with. This was basically what a lot of people are doing. Like, I can't be bothered. What's the point? They brought all of the dark world programming because they haven't put enough truth in to combat that. And they're stepping into cowardice and letting their children sort out this mess, which, like we've discussed, is only going to get worse. And the paedophiles, let's not forget these people that are taking rights and freedoms away from us on a daily basis are fucking paedophiles.
Many of them
man.
are. Yeah.
This Joe Biden that's just got in. I mean, like, really, like, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable that we're collectively taking this, man. You've seen the videos and pictures of him sniffing kids like on camera.
I've seen it. Yeah, seen
on
them.
camera.
Yeah, because they don't care really. So
yeah, things are bad, and people need to take this information on board. Okay, so we've done the masculine pillar of enlightenment. So yeah, the do no harm would be a downward pointing triangle, the chalice and the blade, which make the seal of Solomon, right?
yes.
Okay, I like the movie, The Joker. So
I haven't seen it yet, but
have you not? Okay, no, it's good. Yes.
Okay. I try to.
Yeah, no, check it out, man. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray? Do you ever actually leave the studio? Everybody just yells and screams at each other. No one's civil anymore. Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me, to be someone but themselves? They don't. They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we won't werewolf and go wild. And yeah, by design, right?
Yes.
Indeed. Through domestication, you know, and we've been domesticated mentally. We've been physically declawed and defanged. We've had all of, you know, we've got no guns. And the mindset in the UK and in Europe, it's disgusting. It's really bad. You know, most people think guns are horrendous, horrific, demonic, kind of, you know, the worst things ever. And it's just crazy, you know, because it's the consciousness of the person, like with a chainsaw or a knife. You know, you can either use it for good or for bad, and you know, in a collective that understand natural law, that would bring true civilization, and there would be much less psychopaths. There would be much less crime.
Exactly. And they think the contrary, that, you know, the more you know, the more guns that are around, the more, you know, mass shootings and you know, homicides and, you know, neighbors fighting, shooting each other, and and, you know, old west style shootouts. But that's actually, you know, the contrary is actually true. That there's going to be less and less of all that.
More order, more freedoms, but more than anything, total responsibility. Everyone would have total responsibility for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why, that's again why there's government and police, because we've not wanted to do the dirty work. We've not wanted to step into courage. You know, we've got a long way to go, man. We're deep in this. We've got ourselves in the situation, and it's going to be hard to get out of it. And we need numbers. We need numbers.
Yeah. See, that's another thing that I wanted to clarify. Yes, we need more numbers actually to be able to, you know, stand up for our rights better and in a efficient way, an effective way. And so I wanted to clarify a little bit. It's something that we said at the beginning. You know, there's the, you know, we would be in the right to, you know, for example, to stand up to a cop that says, hey, you can't leave your house, you're not allowed. You know, it would be all right, but you have to also to look at the situation in a strategic or even tactical way. So yes, you'd have, you know, it is within your rights to rebel. It wouldn't be immoral. However, unfortunately, sometimes you have to approach a situation in a tactical manner. You know, when you're outnumbered and you're gonna get killed. Now, what good is gonna be now, really?
Yeah.
Unless you have to, like, you are, unless you really have to, you know. So let's say they want to, you know, put you in in some, in a hospital, or subject you to some treatment or vaccine or injection or whatever that you don't want to, and there's no other way around it, then I guess you'll have to do what you'll be forced to do, actually. But right now, if it's important also to be to use strategy and intelligence and tactic, and to approach it in this way, just
but we just, something that sprung to mind while you're talking there is, we need that inner beast, like he's talking about here, that werewolf, the animalistic nature that we do have, but obviously that, again, with everything else that the satanic system does, obfuscate it. They want everyone to think that they're animals. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about invoking the inner psychopath, going beast mode, getting the Hulk out.
Yeah.
When you're being violated, when your rights are being violated, there's and people that think that pacifism's the right way about it. Again, you think creation would, courage. The universe respects courage. It's acknowledged. It's valued, and you'll get somewhere by being a courageous person. And the universe wouldn't respect somebody that's not that's getting picked on every day. He's taking his lunch money, the bully's taking this kid's lunch money every single day, and the kid's not done it. You think that's right? It's not. It's wrong. Something should be. You should do something about it.
Yes.
And, even if you end up, getting hurt, and you physically suffer for a bit, the bully would most unlikely not do it again, because it's not going to be that easy target, and you'll certainly feel a lot better for yourself for doing something about it.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and that ties into the whole fear of being, as you said, getting hurt, or fear of death. In our case, people don't want to, people wouldn't want to do anything because they fear they might get killed actually, during the course of a righteous physical rebellion, and that there's no use in denying it. Yeah, it may happen, may very well happen. However, would you like to go on, to keep going on
your knees,
being enslaved? Yeah, exactly. And subjugated, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's, if the situation requires it, you may have to take risks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the physical world that we live in, and the fear of death is the beginning of slavery, right?
Yes.
So, but fear is the big retarder. This is the thing that they use the most in the control system, to get us to fear everything and everybody, and they're masquerading as the holy protector. They've done a very good job at doing that. So the way of the warrior is to establish harmony. True Buddha calls for bringing the inner energy of the universe in order, protecting the peace of the world, as well as preserving everything in nature in its right form. Again, speaks for itself, but I like how it's got nature in there, because this is in line with natural law, which establishes harmony. protecting the peace of the world can only be done by living the two pillars of enlightenment. Oh, this is a good one. The Sea Shepherd. Remember always that it is the nature of a warrior to act. Do not be daunted by the formidable strength of the opposition. Do not be depressed by doom and gloom predictions. A true warrior must welcome challenge and transform the impossible into the possible. Because you are living in these trying times, it is your task to confront situations created by human ignorance and apathy, and focus your actions through the love for the future and all the children of all species.
Yeah, that's very good.
Really good, yeah, really good. And he's picking up on ignorance and apathy, which is a big causal factor, and the polarity of love. And it is in that polarity, as opposed to being in fear, that you can start to accept this information, as opposed to being fearful of it and ignoring it or not accepting it. And then in that polarity of love, again, the self-defense principle is in the polarity of love, because it's right action and it's not fear-based, and you're doing something against wrong. So yeah, this is all in the polarity of love, which I wanted to kind of emphasize as well.
Yeah, so yeah, defending yourself. Self-defense is an act of love, not an act of. Many people think it's related to even to hate, but no, that's a lie. It's actually an act of love. That's important to for people to get. So.
Warriors are not always the fastest or strongest men. Strength and speed can be developed through training. Warriors are those who choose to stand between their enemy and all that he loves or holds sacred. So yeah, I mean, we should all be doing some kind of training so we can look after ourselves and our loved ones, and yeah, generating the courage to actually utilize those skills. Yeah, not leaving it to your kids to do once you've died.
Yes, yeah. So this might tie in something I discussed also recently, talking about the movie Doctor Strange,
okay.
the Marvel movie with our friend Ivan, and we were talking about how he kind of represents the sort of the stellar man, having the head in the stars and the feet on the ground. So he knows that. So, and that's kind of what also.
And he's entrusted with the green.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's got those in balance. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and I think it's also represented in this slide. I think there is being a warrior is not just the physical part. There's also the courage and the spiritual part that have to come first, and then there is of course also the physical training, to be able to act in the physical world should it be required. So,
and you brought up movies. Look how many movies there are that have this rebellion. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, the Avengers, like you were talking about, Hunger Games. All of these are deep. There's a lot of allegory in there, and they're so popular because people can relate to it. But for people to have watched all of these movies, and then just sit and treat this actual physical world like a movie, just sitting there eating their popcorn, watching their rights and freedoms being taken away,
Yeah, that's really sad, because they show you the solution.
Yeah, or the everyday person, like Clark Kent or Harry Potter, all of these people that are just regular Joes, you know, and then they go through the process of developing courage and
Yes.
knowing right from wrong, and then they step into that power and take action and end up saving the world, right? There's the allegory.
Yeah, and doesn't mean that it has to be necessarily, you know, how it goes down in movies, right? Just imagine people realizing what's going on and start, you know. I wanted to get into this, you know, maybe a little bit more towards the end, to give some sort of, you know, solution framework or whatever, pretty much, you know. But anyway, just think about if more and more people will disobey instead of just going, you know, rioting, or even going at demonstrations. You know, that would actually start to really change things. You know, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical fight from the very beginning, from the start. Like, you know, there are ways and strategies and to be utilized before you get to that point.
Thucydides quote, if I've said that name right. I was going to let you say that name, Francesco.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
The society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting by fools. Great quote. Yeah. Domestication process is well advanced. Now, we could have a look at this. When integrity would be your actions as well, and so whether they're in alignment with right from wrong. Respect's a good one, you know, true respect. Respectare, to take another look at yourself, be honest with yourself, have a look in the mirror and see if you are being courageous, if you are being true, if you are supporting wrong and domination. So that's probably the key, you know, true respect. That's a key part of this. Developing the courage, you know, being honorable, being compassionate, honest and sincere, you know, not lying, not deceiving. Duality and loyalty. You know, so this is you know, this is a good one for embodying the warrior spirit. You know, all of these 7 attributes. And the Native Americans had similars: honesty, truth, humility, love, wisdom, courage, and respect. It's the 753 code. Rectitude, courage, benevolence, politeness, honesty, honor, loyalty. 5 keys to health: rational nutrition, sensible exercise, efficient rest, proper hygiene, positive attitude. Pretty common sense there, stuff there, you know.
Yeah.
States of mind: alertness and awareness, clear mind, and emotional balance. So yeah, you know, not engaging in vapid anger, not just taking your samurai sword to people who have called you a dickhead or something, you know.
You know, doing it when it actually counts, not for.
But one thing I you know really want to make clear is this isn't just a masculine, although it's a masculine principle. It's for both, because both sexes have masculine and feminine attributes, and you know, so both sexes need to embody both pillars of masculine and feminine. Do no harm, take no shit. And you know, so what we talked about early on in this podcast, where women, it's the covert matriarchy, you know, where but men bend their will to get a mate, you know, to get their willy wet, you know, so they wouldn't want to be ostracized from the female species.
Yes.
And they will do what they think appeals to the female species. And you know, with all the psyops, neo-feminism, you know, this man-hating kind of culture, you know, the toxic masculinity, like I say, rebels are being bred out of society. So when sleeping women wake, mountains move. When women embody the two pillars of enlightenment, so that would mean not being in a relationship with an order follower. You know, they would prefer moral men to psychopathic or rich men, you know. But all of these things that is by design, and you know, for the tyrants of the world with the resources. Yeah, they know what they're doing to the collective minds to get the slaves ready, you know.
To get a population of complete slaves, willing slaves.
Yeah, willful
willful,
slaves. Yeah. So that's the kind of where I wanted to really wrap it up on, you know, emphasizing that this is for women as well, and the true leveler would be firearms. As far as, you know, you wouldn't take strength or self-defense skills, martial arts skills into account if you've, you know, having a gun pointed at you. So yeah,
exactly. And even regarding as you were mentioning, physical strength, you don't have to be necessarily the strongest or the fastest, but if you have a force multiplier like a firearm, then the game, you know, starts to change. That's why the importance of you know, technology and firearms. You know.
So I think I recommended people to check out the true meaning and purpose of the Second Amendment by Passio, didn't I? That you said you've also translated.
Yes, so both parts. So
yeah, and there's a revisited one as well, isn't there? He did. Part 2, wasn't it? A part 2 he did.
Yes, both. Yeah, both part. I have part 1 and part 2. It's the arms, needs, and cowardice. It's called.
Yeah,
I have translated them both. So
epic.
Yeah.
And the last slide I've got here is warriors confront the evil that most people refuse to acknowledge.
Yeah, pretty powerful slide presentation there. So one question that people might ask, it's, you know, how, like you were mentioning something about, you know, the conscious use of entheogens, but in general, you know, how to find, you know, how to find courage. You know, is it possible? You know, can somebody, you know, can you find it, you know, in somebody else, or thanks to somebody else, or, you know, do you really have to go deep inside yourself?
Well, ultimately, it is you that needs to generate it. I think other people can help you, like egg you on, if you like, or inspire you. But ultimately, it's something that you have to generate, and just making a snap decision and taking an action and just kind of doing it. You know, I mean, like we all struggle. You know, I don't always find it easy. You know, like from so you know, courage to set up your own business or start speaking truth. You know, there's many elements that we need to find courage. But this is, you know, to defend freedom and, you know, for the children, this is the most important thing. You know, what's more important than true freedom? There isn't anything true.
Not even your life.
Yeah.
And that's here it gets, you know, it gets scary, you know, for people. So,
but most people, unfortunately, have got a really distorted take on what true freedom really is, and most people think they're fucking free at the moment, man.
Yeah,
you know, whilst they're queuing in lines, wearing their masks, you know, not going out because Epstein's mates have told them not to, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking get me off this place, man.
Yeah, beam me up. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, true. Unfortunately, sadly, as we said, we have a long way to go, and
those entheogens, entheogens and generating courage, do take entheogens. I advocate don't pay any attention to man's laws. If you're not harming anybody, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're not doing anything wrong, right? It's just a state of mind control. These plant teachers have been we've had a symbiotic relationship with them since man, for thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands or millions of years. The most harmful drugs in society are the legal ones, and they're literally the least harmful drugs out there, and a lot of places in America I've noticed are decriminalizing them and using them
it seems,
for therapy, post-traumatic stress with order followers, and that type of thing. So they work. You could go to hell and back on a psychedelic journey. You could have the most blissful, serene, meaningful, profound moment of your life, and then go to hell and back again. And confronting all of your fears along the way. I've gone through like multiple deaths in some psychedelic experiences, because I think they were trying to really hammer home not to be afraid of dying, because I've always found that the last things I kind of grasp hold of, like when you're just about to go down the wormhole, if you like, would be my kids. Like, no, I'm okay, I'm brave, yeah, let's go. It's like, no, my kids. And then you're gone, and you come back, and you realize everything was fine. And they're always I always find they're always beneficial, always humbling, always kind of like a bit of a reset, a bit like a defrag on your computer. You just feel a bit refreshed. And I'm overdue some, actually. I'm going to do some soon. I've not stepped into courage for too long, and I've been avoiding my medicine. But this is a big thing. I was going to sort of tailor my seed for presentation around this.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that conference. I mean, I probably most likely wouldn't have gone, but I was looking forward to see the
way
speakers
we've had longer to prepare the presentation, so the presentation should be pretty good. We've had another whole extra year, so I better start mine soon.
yeah. Hopefully, I heard who's Brandon Martin, one of the organizers, or the organizer, saying that they want to have it in the next spring, spring 2021.
Yeah,
and I really hope you will be able to to do that in person, and not just over Skype or.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the backup plan, depending on the tyranny that we face at the time, whether we need vaccine passports or tests before we get on the plane and all that nonsense.
Because I was pretty frustrated with the conference that I was supposed to attend in Madrid, Spain, where Mark Passio was supposed to speak, even though he was already going to speak via Zoom. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they're really ramping up. I've seen it in the media. The anti-vaxxers, should stay on lockdown. Keep the anti-vaxxers on lockdown. Because only 99.97% of people survive this freaking manufactured scam virus anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it was actually, it was worse. Again, you know, freedom is the more important thing.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. You know, take your own precautions, but don't come with the military and the freaking police.
Exactly, man. You take personal responsibility. If you want to go out, fucking go out and take responsibility. If you want to stay indoors because you're scared of the virus is going to get you, you know, then that's your choice as well. But you know, don't start forcing things on people that are just minding their own business.
Yeah, and also if there is actually a health crisis, then it's what it is, a health crisis, not a military or police, you know, excuse to intervene and, you know, destroy your your freedom and kill you and kidnap you or rape you or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
man. Yeah.
You know, however,
I'm kind of surprised there's not been more of a pushback against police. The things that they've been getting up to over this scamdemic, you know.
Yeah, just look at Victoria and Australia.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised more police haven't been lynched.
Because I've seen in Germany some of the protests. You know, at least there was some resistance to the cops that were beating people down, and there were other people coming in to try to, you know, to save the other person that was getting beaten by the police. So at least, you know, but also other things, other stuff, and people they're not doing anything. You know, in those occasions there will be a real need to engage the self-defense principle. I wanted to kind of close with you know, saying that, I mean, is there any use in like, you know, protesting in the streets to, you know, ask the politicians to give our rights back? I mean, is that in line with the warrior spirit or the self-defense principle, or maybe, you know, we should?
I'm not a fan of it. At the end of the day, we are begging our masters.
Yes.
You know, we're saying, please, master, please give us our rights back. You know, please don't whip me as much. It's I mean, yes, it's a statement, and you know, especially when a lot of people protest and they're all got the same message. So it can be a way of reaching people or giving people hope, maybe. But ultimately, it's futile.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. I mean, what would you think about? I mean, for me, a big one would be, you know, to start with, at least, it's civil disobedience. Like, you know, disobeying what they're telling you.
Distress and disdain the system.
Yeah. And I think that would be a much more efficient way to get our freedom back.
Yeah.
If enough number of people start disobeying, then they can really do much. And I'm not saying anything, because ultimately, as we discussed with Joe also in the roundtable we did, ultimately, you know, it's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when physical force in a righteous rebellion will have to be utilized. I think it's a matter of when. But if in the meantime we get more and more people to just disobey and carry on with their lives, and this will have to involve, you know, nobody can really do that on their own. You know, that would involve, you know, cooperation and mutual aid between, especially, you know, between all sorts of people, between people that have, you know, small businesses that are going down, you know, people that have restaurants or whatnot, you know, the tourism, you know, industry, and you know, they really need to get together as you know, supported by, you know, at least a part of the population, and, you know, get together with some form of, you know, cooperation or mutual aid groups, I think. You know, however, unfortunately, you know, as we know, all their followers are still, gonna be sent to, maybe extort or trying to, to keep any sort of disobedience, to put it back in line. And at that point, then there may come the time for righteous physical rebellion. So I don't know what are your thoughts on it as a possible, solution.
Well, it's going to have to happen at some point. Let's be honest about it. Like I said, there is little point doing it when the consciousness isn't collectively there. But it is gonna. If we really want change, because let's be honest, the tyrants aren't going to give up their thrones easily, and there's always going to be some order followers that are happy to sell out for some worldly trinkets and do their bidding. So it is, as much as we could minimize that number by trying to wake up the police and military. The laws that they're upholding are wholly immoral and go against natural laws and principles. There's always going to be some. So there's always going to be an amount of bloodshed. And there's that quote, is it Thomas Paine? The tree of liberty needs to be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Along those lines,
I think Jefferson, maybe.
Jefferson, right? Sorry, yeah.
I think, yeah,
possibly one or the other. So yeah, yes, we should. Yes, it is inevitable if we're going to have any positive change. But will anything positive come out of it until we have collectively got to the magic 51% number? No. That's the truth. That's the fact of the matter. In fact, it'll probably end up being worse, because we're kind of playing into their tactics. Because they like using force. They've got all the toys, haven't they? They've got all they've got all the kit. They've kitted their cult members out with all of the latest military hardware. So we're kind of playing into, but we've got numbers.
Yes.
The killer bees, the swarm of ants. We don't have to worry about tanks and thermal cameras. We've got numbers and those blankets you wear after you've done a marathon. Those, we can use those and hide under them. But there's always a way. But there is going to be a physical pushback at some point. It can't all be done in the realm of consciousness, which it'd be wonderful if that was the case, but that's not reality, is it?
Yes, yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. Again, if we are, in total honesty, I don't see it, going down any other way. If we want our freedoms back, we'll need to take them back. Because they are not gonna give them back to us. So
no, and I think generating the courage to sort of confront what's on the screen right now, to acknowledge the evil that's going on in the world, and to speak out about it and do something about it. I think it's going to get harder for people to generate courage because there's going to be more fear.
Yes,
there's going to be more fear about the social credit system possibly coming in, right? I won't get my benefits if I start speaking the truth, or if I go on these protests, or if I do something to propagate information that's going on in the world. So and again, going back to technology, whilst technology is just going so fast at the moment. The leaps and bounds that we're making in technology is just well, it's not frightening, but it's just it's quite astounding. They'll have their Skynet endoskeletons in not very long. You know, it's not far away.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be more fear there, because you're going to have humans and robots to deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, the sooner we confront this, the better. But I you know, maybe I am being a bit nihilistic. I just can't see it. I can't see it happening, which is really sad. And you know, but
yeah, I mean,
hopefully I'm wrong there.
yeah, we'll really have to see. You know, we'll have to see how things will go. And yeah, I think, as I said, it's gonna get worse. It needs to get worse also. So otherwise. Otherwise, there's really in that case I don't really see a chance of people, you know, or more people waking up. It really needs to get worse, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, they won't mandate vaccines, I don't think, to because you know that might cause some sort of physical pushback. They'll do it by making people scared, or you know,
yes,
that they won't be able to travel, or they won't be able to go certain places, do certain things if they haven't had their vaccines.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's gonna be, you know, they're not necessarily coming in kicking in your door to get, you know, to vaccinate you. It's not gonna roll out that way. I think as you said, maybe you can get certain jobs, or you can get to leave the country, or you know, this sort of thing. Yeah, so
not the cheeriest of podcasts, but enlightenment isn't about just talking about unicorns and fluffy things, and you know, it's about the truth and
yeah, it was an honest discussion on you know what the situation is and what needs to, you know, and where our consciousness needs to go. And
it's so far behind. I mean, you know, America are pretty much one of the only countries in the world that can actually physically do something with teeth about this. You know, if they organize, you know, with their militias, because that's the true solution to any, you know, having an organized militia, whether it's in your village or your town, and that way we look after each other. You know, and it's the killer bee thing as well, especially if all the killer bees have got firearms. You know, no terrorist group, like government, will you know, we have the numbers to do anything about it. No invasions would be successful because the population are armed. You know,
I mean, just you know, for those that say that, oh, but you can't possibly win against the government. I mean, for people who say that, just look at Yemen. And Yemen, it's the second, I think, it's the second most armed, you know, country as far as number of guns per population. It's the second most armed population, and it comes even way after the you know, before the United States. So you know, the United States is even more armed, way more armed than Yemen, and yet, you know, what you see, it's, you know, now for years and years they've tried to bend the Yemenis, you know, with the, I mean, they went in with the, you know, the US, you know, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Israel, for sure. They, you know, they send black water, they bombed the hell out of that country, and yet still they are not able to get them. And
Palestinians, you know, they've lost a lot of land, but they're still putting up a fight.
And because it's the second most armed population in the world. So imagine in the States, where they are much more armed than the Yemenis. So
yeah, the you know, I've long thought, which is why America seems to get hit harder with all of the shitty food.
Yeah, exactly.
And the mind control as well.
That's the reason.
They're hit really hard. Yeah. Yeah, good chat we've had, mate.
Yeah, so
I think we covered pretty much all the baby. Something always kind of pops into your mind afterwards, doesn't it? But I think
yeah.
I think we've covered it pretty eclectically.
Yeah, it was a good one. I hope people will benefit from the information given in this episode. And so thanks again, Nathan, for your participation and your slides and the slideshow, which was very, very good.
Yeah, thanks for doing the recordings and putting the videos together and everything, and all the work that you do, Francesco. Keep it going, mate.
Yeah, I'll try.
Persistence, that's another
I try to persist. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to dig deep.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And okay, so I don't know. Do you want to, I guess people can look up your name on YouTube, I think, for now.
If anyone wants to, under my name, Nathan Riddett. There's plenty on YouTube. I've got a BitChute account. I will be opening up others, and hopefully I'll be creating some more content soon as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. And regarding these slides that we've seen, they are part, if I'm not mistaken, they are part of your natural law extended presentation. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah, I think it's in the final, maybe part 7 towards the end. Either before or after, when I'm talking about allegorical movies. I can't actually remember the but it's part 6 or part 7. This section was in the presentation. Thank you.
I encourage people to look up the whole presentation anyway. Very good on all the various aspects of natural law. And well, that said, Nathan, thanks again, and I guess.
Thank you, Francesco.
Yeah, we'll see you.
See you another time soon. Thank you. Take care. See you.
Bye. See you next time.
Congress now enslaves us. Fascists, it's what we are.